Hey everybody, I'm Paul.
And I'm Andrew.
And welcome back to the Fan Voice. We are here again for another episode to talk about today True Detective Season 2. We just got through it recently. It's been out for a bit, but screw it, we want to talk about it anyway.
Yeah!
So, before that, we got a little bit of news here, and first off is the release of Tony Hawk 5. Is that the number?
Yeah, so
Okay.
This is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5. Which, when it was first announced, I was like, that's awesome!
Yeah.
I don't even know when it's coming out, but I'm excited to play it.
Honestly, it was a good idea to ram up the nostalgia of, like, all the 90s kids and stuff.
Yeah.
The
It was just...
games were fun.
No, they were super fun, and, like... I don't know, the weird part is I hear about this, and I go, that's awesome, I really want to play that when it comes out. I hear nothing, I completely forget about it, which probably means I wasn't that excited for it.
Yeah.
But I was kind of excited. And then it's just out.
Uh-huh.
It's just released. And I saw that and I went, wait, what? When did that happen?
And apparently it is glitchy as all heck.
Yeah, so we watched a video where a guy just falls over and over and over again through the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, it looks awful. It looks awful. It really, really does.
It really is remarkable, like, how, like, I don't know, of course newer titles on newer systems, there's much more intricacies in it, but, like, to screw up a game that had the format down or much better
Right.
in, like, N64, PS1, for a game like this to appeal to all those people who like the new games, you just had to reskin it with new graphics and have the same thing going.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, basically.
That's the
Except you
disappointing
didn't.
thing
And
about it.
It's just like, wow, it looks really bad.
Yeah.
And it kind of looks like Skate 3, which is also another one of those just, oh my god, it's so glitchy.
It's famous for its glitches.
Very famous for its glitches.
If you guys haven't seen the Vine Sauce video they did on that, you will laugh your butt off. You need to check it out.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
The Vine Sauce Skate 3 videos are one of my favorite things on the internet. They really are. So yeah, that's kind of what it started to look like while I was watching this video.
Especially
like,
with the flopping bodies and stuff.
No, seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, because that Skate's, like, infamous for that.
Yeah.
It's just, like, they'll just, like, go limp and crazy ass stuff will happen. They'll start glitching through stuff.
Yeah.
That's what this looked like.
Yeah, yeah.
My favorite is, because this is probably a common thing I would want to do, my favorite is apparently when you're up against a wall, and you want to jump, right? Probably to grind on the wall or whatever. So apparently there's a very high chance you'll just fly off. Because that's what everybody's, I guess that's what, not only was that in this video a lot, because they were kind of testing it, but apparently that's a very common thing.
Yeah.
And it'll ruin your run, because you just, like, go up against a wall and fly.
Yeah.
And it takes you forever to come back down. Because it pops you into the air really high.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Poor Tony Hawk.
I know, I'm like, damn it. Why Tony Hawk? The only other thing is that this was a rumor. I don't know if it's necessarily true. I think it started on Reddit, but apparently they might have done this because Activision had their contract through 2015 for Tony Hawk, and then they would lose the license if it was like a use it or lose it sort of thing.
Seriously?
Like many of the things that come with movies.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a very common thing in the movie industry, and I can totally see that being a thing.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
games.
That's I don't know. It's those little, like, technicalities of things. It reminds me of, like, this video I watched from Film Theory about why all video game movies are bad. And it was kind of, I can't remember the specifics of it, but, like, it didn't matter if they were good or not, but they would make a bunch of money back from it. So,
right.
like, if they were to, like, siphon off a lot of the budget and everything, like, they would actually make more money with it or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm growing up more and more, and I'm just like, I understand the struggle, but screw industries.
Yeah.
You know? It's, ooh.
Yeah. So that's really unfortunate.
Yeah.
I really hope they pick it up, and if they're gonna make another one, they just decide to start from scratch.
Yeah.
And not make the same mistakes.
Right.
Because, yeah. So.
Speaking of mistakes...
Oh! Wow, what a fucking segue.
Our next item on our list is... What is this even called? Kingdom Hearts 2.8
Oh shit, yeah, I don't even
HD?
remember. 2.8 something?
Prequel, pre-final story.
Oh, something like that. Yeah. Oh shit, I cannot remember.
It's Kingdom Hearts 2.8. You know what we're talking about here. And okay, here's what's happening with this thing. Okay, so it has HD Dream Drop Distance, which was the 3DS title.
Mm-hmm.
Totally expecting that.
Right.
And then along with it is Kingdom Hearts Key.
Whatever. Yep.
Back cover, which is like an additional part of the MMO Chibi game.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
And I think what's going on with that is they're like basically giving you a wrap up of the important like plot points to the history of like the 6 original Keyblade Masters.
Yeah,
kind
that
of
makes sense.
It's kind of cool. And then the last part is Birth by Sleep .2 final chapter. I'm so prepared for this nonsense. It's
point 2. Every time we start getting in like anywhere past 0.5, you start doing like 0.2 in video games. You fucking lost me. I'm done.
I think there was an interview with Tetsuya Nomura where they were seriously discussing why it wasn't 0.1.
Oh.
Or 2.9.
Oh my god.
Is there gonna be a 2.9?
No, because it would have to be like 2.95. Because he didn't do 2.75, he did 2.8. So in the middle of 2. It's gonna have to make even less sense. And it's
2.002.
Yeah, I mean, you could do anything.
Oh my gosh, HD.
Or it'll be 3 minus 0.99.
Yeah.
That's the name of the next one.
Over 5.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's Aqua's time spent in darkness, basically. Which, it looks like they're gonna run it on the Kingdom Hearts 3 engine. With the couple seconds they showed of it. It's modern graphics.
So that's the only part that I'm like, alright, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. But still, this is it.
Yeah, this is like...
This is all stalling out of heck.
Right.
They have nothing left. There's literally nothing left.
There is literally... Once they release this, and yeah, it comes with like a new-ish game with new graphics like you're talking about.
Yeah.
With the Kingdom Hearts 3 engine, which means they had to have made it very recently.
Yeah.
Which means they're stalling.
Yeah, absolutely.
But after this is done, that's it. I mean, if fucking 2.8 is out, we have 0.2 of a game to go. That doesn't mean that you're going to come out with 2.9. And I really hope it doesn't mean you're going to come out with another shitty handheld game.
Yeah.
Just release 3.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
At this point, I don't even care if this is their last stalling. I'm just going to stay mad until Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out.
I'm just going to stay mad. Paul's just going to be fuming. Every time you see him, he's just going to be like, fuck, Kingdom Hearts 2.8. Yeah, bullshit.
They've jerked us around for years.
They really have.
We're done. It's over.
I really am done. When they said the whole name, I wish that I could remember it. It is so ludicrous.
Yeah.
And then the 0.2 of Birth by Sleep. I'm like, are you fucking kidding? Are you really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you serious right now? This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And they're totally 100% serious. I don't understand.
Hey, if you guys want to hear us rant more about...
Oh, yeah, this...
the whole team and Tetsuya Nomura stalling, we have a whole podcast on this.
We totally do.
We did this like a year ago, and it's still relevant.
It is. It never ends, Paul.
Oh my god.
Yeah, go watch that podcast.
So. Ugh.
Yeah, we'll link it because my god.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's
Moving on?
Yeah, what's our next
All right.
piece?
So, all right. So our next piece of news is kind of unfortunate, at least for me. There's no Pacific Rim 2 anymore. It was like a month ago, maybe.
Was it canceled?
Yeah.
I thought it was just they delayed it again.
No, like they canceled it. So what happened is like a month ago, Del Toro or someone, I can't remember who, said, yeah, it looks like Pacific Rim 2 is not going to happen. People were like, what? What happened? I thought it was just delayed. It's still on the schedule. Yeah, kind of final nail in the coffin happened. I saw this today. It's been replaced by Pitch Perfect 3 on the Universal schedule. So basically, they were just like, yeah, okay, it's not happening. So we'll just replace it with another movie we have on the schedule.
I wish I could say I'm surprised.
Me too. I'm not super surprised.
Yeah.
Pacific Rim is not a good movie. Well, I don't know. It's not great. It really isn't.
It's very uniquely entertaining, I would say.
It's very entertaining, and the action sequences are actually very, very good, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it's the thing.
And
is,
the world is really cool, and like
Yeah.
the characters are all overly ridiculous, and it
Yeah.
really does sometimes feel like you're in an anime, and you're just like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Which is cool, and I like that feel, obviously, as a
And
fan of anime.
it's developed a big cult following now.
But that's the thing, is since it developed such a big cult following, it seems like movie studios are beginning to appreciate that a little bit more. I would assume somebody would go, great, make Pacific Rim 2, keep the budget down. But
With
I guess you
what
can't really
Pacific Rim 1 brought to the table,
yeah,
that wouldn't turn out good.
right. So maybe that's what happened.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And also versing Pitch Perfect 3. That is a very popular, let's go see a movie, general population movie, which I think beats out the cult following
It does.
in numbers.
It's a good point. It's a good point. And it's not like, I'm also like we're not trying to like shit on Pitch Perfect. Like, I don't care. It's just it was very clearly that it was like, okay, Pacific Rim 2 is not happening. Hey, it's Pitch Perfect 3. Like, that'll just take the spot perfectly.
That's a lot safer.
It was like, okay, I see what's happening here. It does. It seems safer from Universal because it is. Like, anybody can go see that movie. And, like, apparently they're very funny movies. I haven't seen them.
I saw the first one.
Okay.
It was funny.
Yeah, so...
And I'm a fan of acapella. So.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm not super surprised. It's just really unfortunate.
Yeah.
I would like to have seen it because I really think that for the first one... I don't think did we ever talk about Pacific Rim? I can't remember, but...
No, we didn't talk about Pacific Rim.
I really thought that if they would have just gotten rid of that main character and kept it focused on the Japanese character, it would have been a much better movie. Like, it would have been legitimately good.
Yeah.
I think.
Uh-huh.
But they didn't.
Yeah. And
instead, Idris Elba is just kind of like, hey, I'm here. I'm going to make a corny speech now. Okay, go get him. And I'm like, wow, this would have been much better with you and her, and that's it.
Yeah.
Just cut the main character. Anyway, not getting into this right now. And that's kind of... I mean, Pacific Rim 2, they seem to have some ideas that were kind of going them more that direction.
Yeah.
I was excited about. But...
I mean, another thing you have to keep in mind is that Pacific Rim has some merchandise.
Yeah.
Pitch Perfect's in the merchandise.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, Cartoon Network's always run into trouble with merchandise. That's always been a major problem. That's why
Cartoon Network.
Yeah, that's why they always. That's why they canceled like Symbiotic Titan, because even though they had merchandise, they were like, "Oh, merchandise is gonna be huge for the show," and so they put a bunch of money into it, and then the merchandise didn't go anywhere.
Why does Cartoon Network have Pacific Rim merchandise?
No. I'm saying Symbiotic Titan is a good example of that.
Oh, okay.
They put a lot of money into Symbiotic Titan because they went, no, we can merchandise it. I don't know, in this day and age, maybe that's not as steady as it used to be.
Yeah, I guess I'm just so sunk into the con world now,
right.
where everyone flips their lid over every Pacific Rim merchandise.
It's true.
Thing. Yeah.
It's true, definitely.
Okay, yeah.
But,
I get that.
Yeah, so that's kind of disappointing.
Yeah,
I would have liked to have seen more Pacific Rim 2, but
me too. Me too. It's a pretty cool universe. We'll probably get some comics or something.
Yeah, I would say something has to come out of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's our sad news for the day.
Yeah.
And so, do we want to get...
That was all sad news.
Yeah.
I swear I didn't have that planned.
Yeah. Well, that's regular news, I guess.
That's true.
We can't be
We're
like
a
that
news
way.
station.
No. I don't want to be Fox or CNN.
Alright.
Okay.
We're no longer Fox and CNN. We always have to have a piece of positive news from now on.
But
it's a new rule.
Okay.
So now we get to talk about True Detective. This is a very sad podcast, and I did not mean for it to be this way, but it is.
True Detective Season 2, specifically.
Alright, so I just want to, right from the very beginning here, we did not particularly enjoy True Detective Season 2. So, I'm going to try really hard not to just, like, rip into it over and over and over again.
Uh-huh.
But inevitably, I compared Season 2 to Season 1.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I just did.
Yeah.
And inevitably, I also compared it to really high-ranking TV, because that's what everybody says it is.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
I wasn't like, oh, just another cop drama? Great, I can watch that. I'm thinking, like, awesome.
Yeah.
I'm ready. Strap in for some really good TV. No, I didn't get that. So, just FYI, that's a thing. Be prepared. Where do we start? All right, so let's start. Let's just start. Actually, let's start like a year ago, right? So we had just finished season 1 of True Detective, and I was like, "Holy crap, that was amazing!"
Yeah,
and I want to see what's next.
Right.
So the next thing I hear is somebody say, "All right, great. It's going to take place in a bigger city. It's going to be more focused on cops, and it's going to be more like a gangster movie." And I believe that was from an interview with Nick Pizzolatto, who is the writer.
Uh-huh.
I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. And I went, ugh.
Yeah, you were worried about that right from the get-go.
Right at the beginning. Yeah, you remember. Because
Yeah.
I remember reading the interview and then telling you about it.
Yeah, it's
and
like,
being like,
oh, I've seen this so many times kind of thing, yeah.
Right, yeah. And I was just like, I've seen it so much. It's nothing new, and that's what I liked about the first one, is that it was just like, wow, that was so well done and put together so well.
And
like,
the setting had a big part to do with that, because in a detective story, we don't see... What do you call the area? Like, that they were in?
Well, I guess, like, rural Louisiana.
Yeah.
It's kind of like backwater.
Yeah,
Louisiana.
It's backwater. It's not a traditional setting.
No.
And as far as the setting went, with the first couple episodes, I was kind of intrigued by it, because I feel like it polarized the first season a lot. I think I kind of mentioned this to you before, where, like, with the backwater area, a lot of, like, evidence or trying to find people, it was spread out, murky, hard to find.
Right.
So, like, as opposed to the like California and the city and stuff like that, evidence is everywhere and things are right there. But the thing is, everybody's compromised. So it was cool to see a theme going from a theme of being lost to being trapped. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And okay, so I will say, so did I.
Yeah.
I after I was kind of like, oh, okay, like gangster movie, big city, I was kind of like, don't know how I feel about that. First episode, I was like, all right, I can see it. It wasn't great, but I think back to the first season, and I'm thinking first 2 episodes, and I'm like, yeah, it's slow. It's a slow burn, but for me, by the time I got to episode 3, I was like, okay, I want to see more of this. This is really good.
Yeah.
But the first 2 episodes, you're kind of like on the fence a little bit, almost. And you're just getting pulled in.
Yeah.
For season 1. And I think that's what a lot of people say. So I was kind of thinking the same thing.
Or just series in general,
That's definitely
I think pilot episodes are always slow. Or first episodes.
First episodes are usually slow. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
But I would say, like, right from the get-go, having 4 main characters was a problem for me.
Right.
Because, like, even with the slowness, you're getting more time for the 2 people to develop.
Right.
As opposed to
Yes.
with the 4 people, it's like, okay, they're here. That's it. The episode's over.
So that's my problem.
Yeah.
I was thinking at this time, I was like, all right, but the first season or the first episode of the first season was slow. It was slow. So this isn't bad. It's just it took a while. And then I think about it even more, and I'm like, yeah, except by the first episode, in the first 5 minutes, we know who the 2 main characters are.
Mm-hmm.
Literally in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
This one, it's at the end of the first episode that they first meet each other.
Yeah.
And that's where I was like,
an hour
okay.
episode with 8 episodes.
Right. This is going to be a problem. Immediately, I was like, this is going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Because I know that these 3 detectives are going to meet each other, and Frank's going to be off on his own. I kind of recognize that.
Yeah.
But I was like, these 3 are going to be together, and they literally just met.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the end of the first episode, and we have the hook of the series, which is Casper's murder.
Right.
And I'm like, wow, you wasted an eighth. An eighth of your show was that.
Yeah.
An eighth of your show was set up for the main plot.
Right.
And then
risky.
And then it got worse. There were more characters and more characters.
Yeah.
And more people being introduced. I mean, in the, 4th, maybe 5th episode, the Mexican gang is introduced.
Yeah.
You've literally never seen them before. Spoiler alert, they're fucking huge. They're a huge point of the series.
But they were my least favorite part.
And they show up 3 times.
Yeah.
Literally 3 times.
Yeah. Specifically to screw things up.
Yeah, no, 4. 4, technically. But yeah, 4 times to fuck things up. 4.
Yeah.
They're just a device to come in and screw with things.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
They're a conflict for the sake of conflict, pretty much.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, like, that was my biggest problem with the series.
Mm-hmm.
Is by the end, I was just like, dude, this is so convoluted. Stuff is happening left and right. I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is.
Right.
Is that guy working for that guy? Is he double-crossing him? There's a point where the guy... This is huge spoilers, by the way. So if you want to go watch the series, go watch it.
We're gonna talk about everything.
Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about everything.
Yeah.
The guy that works for Frank comes in and he's like, oh, you've been double-crossing me. And then he's like, oh, Frank, I can still work for you. It could be a triple cross. And I'm like, is that a real line?
You would say that to a boss's
fucking
face.
Serious right now?
Yeah.
That's a real line
in
this show.
Uh-huh.
That was the part where I was like, all right, you have lost me. Yeah, okay, great. Triple cross him. I'm glad he didn't go through with it. I'm glad he shot him because I'm like, okay, great. One character down. Maybe we can move on. Next person.
Yeah. Yeah. So for the and yeah, that didn't do any favors for the 4 main characters.
It really didn't because their development gets lost. You're introducing too many characters. Mm-hmm. You're introducing too many plot points with those characters, and that's kind of the main thing. Is those other characters aren't getting development, but they're there to drive the plot. Mm-hmm. And so then that gets confusing on multiple levels. Yeah. Because you're worrying about the plot and who this character is and why they had this really weird moment with Frank. And then you're forgetting that Frank is having these great moments where he's revealing elements of his childhood. Yeah. Like, you know, the part where he's staring at the ceiling, he's talking about what his dad used to do.
One of my favorite parts.
It was really, really good.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's just like, he's at the brink of losing everything, too. That's what makes that scene so great. Right. Right? And then the part in the club where he beats the crap out of the guy, you're like, oh my god. Those moments seem lost. Because they're threaded in between this, like, just plot that is just meandering.
Because whether we like it or not, like, of course there are these, like, really influencing moments that take priority over others, but time still is a factor. And if you overflow the time way too much with other stuff, like double it or triple it over the gripping parts, I think that makes a difference. Yeah. I think that'll influence the impressions of viewers and just the quality of the story. Some may disagree with me, but I think time still is a factor. Yeah. Like screen time and stuff.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
I really do. I don't know. That was the most frustrating thing to me is because, you know, I really thought Frank had really good development sometimes. Mm-hmm. And the two of them had really interesting conversations. You know, they're talking about settling down.
Colin Farrell?
No, him and his wife.
Oh, okay.
Her name is Jordan. They have some great conversations
Mm-hmm.
there about settling down and having kids and getting out of the business. And,
Yeah.
it's all classic gangster, which I'll just mention this right now. It's just kind of a thing about the show that bothered me. Some of his lines are awful.
Yeah.
Is that line about, here we are under the bright lights. I was like, wow, who the fuck wrote that? Oh my god. And there are other ones too. The line about the stork. Do you remember that line?
I can't remember.
Okay, so she comes in, she talks about something, and he's angry, and he's like, we can't worry about the stork right now. And then he, like, storms out.
Oh, the baby?
Yeah.
Oh.
And I was like, what the fuck? Like, wait, really? Did you just call it the stork? And then and then in a super serious moment, and it doesn't fit with his character at all. Like, none of these lines that are, like, classic, like, old gangster style don't fit with his character.
Yeah.
He's this kind of serious guy, and sometimes, he can be kind of, like, funny or, like, not funny, but, like, I don't know the right word for it, but he could be kind of lighthearted with some of the guys around. But it's just, like, suddenly he's a 1940s gangster for one or two lines.
Wasn't there, like, other, like, situations where you had trouble pinpointing the period of time that it was in?
I did, actually.
It was supposed to be modern day, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But I thought there was, like, a few items or, like, situations where, like, it's is this, like, a couple decades back or something?
The way Colin Farrell dressed, sometimes, I was like, wow, bolo tie, like, we're old school. No, we're not. His character completely changed. Mm-hmm. Halfway through the series, he's no longer wearing bolo ties.
Uh-huh.
And, and he's scruffy faced, and he doesn't have the mustache. And I'm like, okay, So yeah, sometimes there was that where I was like, is this just like a fashion? Here's the thing: I may not know fashion at all, and I may be very confused, and that's why.
Uh-huh.
But it did seem to me sometimes where it was like, wow, this club looks like it's from the 70s.
Yeah.
Is that what's happening here?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
And that and, what is it? Woodrow's predicament with his shame or whatever you think? Some people call that a little dated. How do you feel about that?
I think it's still relevant.
Yeah.
I think in this day and age there are definitely still repercussions that come from coming out. Mm-hmm. And I think that if it had happened before he got his girlfriend pregnant, like if it would have come out, it would have been much less of a big deal, obviously. Mm-hmm. But you're having a baby with somebody. It's probably important that doesn't come out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think just less of like, in this day and age, everybody's okay with it. I don't think that's true at all. I think there are definitely still mothers who would hate their sons or daughters.
Okay.
Because they came out, so that's definitely a thing. But at the same time, I think it was more so that he was having a daughter. Mm-hmm. And that's why he didn't want to come out.
You think so?
Yeah.
Because he didn't
want to come out before. I will admit that. Yeah. He didn't want to come out before. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't as big of a deal, and it certainly wasn't something he would freak out over and like really stress about, unless he's having a child with a woman that doesn't know that he's gay.
Yeah. Right,
because he obviously wants a child.
Yeah.
That's important to him. Mm-hmm. He's like excited about it.
Right.
And he thinks it's so great. And it helps him convince him that he's not gay. Mm-hmm. But if it was before that, I think he'd be pissed off. He'd probably go beat the crap out of the guy that blackmailed him.
Did he? So the night he slept with the guy, he was like bawling the next day. Was that after the baby, or before?
That was before.
Okay.
Yeah. That was before.
Yeah, because that's still a pretty extreme reaction to it.
To knowing that?
Yeah. Or for him doing it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But if we're not talking about that getting out, though. We're talking about just the emotions in that
Oh,
moment.
okay, I understand.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about the blackmail.
Yeah. Okay,
like, the blackmail wouldn't have been a big deal. He would have been like, no, I'm not gonna come meet you in some secluded place.
I got you.
No, I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Release it to the world. My mom already knows, because she does. She tells them, I know.
Yeah.
I know you're gay. But he now has a daughter.
Yeah, okay,
so it's
that
makes
makes
a big deal.
That makes the blackmail more.
Yeah, okay, if you were just talking about him having a reaction,
yeah,
no, I still think that reaction is totally reasonable in this day and age. I think many people have that reaction. Because there's still a lot of push towards...
Yeah.
There is. So...
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. Alright, so I just want to kind of go through some of the other ones, though. I kind of want to talk about some of the direction really quickly. And then we can kind of talk about just, like, some of the BS moments, and then the end.
Okay.
And what we thought was good about the series from there.
Sure.
Because there are some really big BS moments that I was like, yeah. Kind of ruined the series. But the direction conversation will flow into that. Because the direction in the series was by different directors. So every 2 episodes, new director.
Really?
Yeah.
Through this... Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me make sure if that 2 director thing was right, though. I'm looking at it right now. Actually, it looks like it's pretty much every other episode.
Oh,
Justin
my
Lin
goodness.
did the first 2. Janice Metz. Jeremy Okay, yeah. So, yeah. Kinda inconsistent. And I'm just gonna go ahead and say this right now. It shows.
Yeah.
It is not great when you get a transition from an episode to an episode that is jarring. You know, they're showing previously on True Detective. And you're like, alright, I can get into this. I remember that. Oh, that was a cool scene. Cool part. Next episode, whoa. Different feel. And it really was. Like, it was noticeable to me from 2 to 3. Immediately.
Yeah.
Not just the beginning of 3 and why it's BS.
Oh.
Not just that, because it was. But just the difference in, like, suddenly I'm like, wow, we have a lot more just
stuff.
Static shots and a lot more, like, different editing. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, this is different.
Yeah.
Like, completely different. And I can remember so many shots from the first True Detective that tie together from other episodes and that are incredible. Yeah. The circle on the tree, the first time you see, you know, the big bad guy. Yeah. Where they have the shootout, quote unquote. Right. The scene where he slams his car and you see the light on the back. I can literally go on and on of shots in True Detective that are like, oh my god, that's mind-blowing. Yeah. That was so cool. This season, not at all.
The only ones I can really recall are episode 2 with the ceiling stain shot. Yep. Transitioning into the eyes. That was pretty awesome. And then the end. Yeah. Just
basically the ending shots. Yeah. Yeah. No, and that's very true. And some of those ending shots, okay, I'm sorry, super corny. Like, the water superimposed over her face as it's, like, flowing by. I'm like, wow, are we in the 90s? What is happening right now? Yeah. And that was my other problem, is it was, like, especially during that last episode, like, them getting out of the train station, it goes all slow motion, and there's, like, a transparent transition going on as they're running in slow motion. I was like, what? This is so corny. Yeah. What? And I never got that from the first season. And I also don't get that from other television shows that I really like. They don't do that because it's not good. Yeah. It's really not good. And it really did feel sometimes like I was like, oh my god, that was like bad budget TV moment. Almost. In a lot of these transitions. They're really awkward and just like, what is happening? Yeah. And the scene where he's looking up into the forest and it's like twinkly lights coming through, and then he's like, and then he turns around and dies. I was like, what? All right, that's cool. I don't know. There were so many, and really, I think the fact that there isn't a consistent director harms it a lot.
Oh, absolutely.
And there are other shows that do the same thing, and they do it really well. I just don't know why this one didn't work. It just didn't.
No.
It feels very disjointed from episode to episode.
Yeah, I mean, with a series like this, I mean, I think you can do that with, like, a long-running TV series or something.
Breaking Bad did that.
Yeah. Because it's
be wrong.
cool from time to time to get a taste on a different person's perspective. Like,
Mhm.
we've seen that with shows before.
Yeah.
Like, we always talk about those 2 Naruto fillers. Or
Right, yeah.
there's probably a couple Samurai Jack ones as
Yes.
well.
Yeah,
Stuff
that's
like
probably
that. That it's just a reimagining of the whole world, which can be cool from time to time. But we're talking about an 8-episode series.
Right.
We need consistency
Yeah.
above all else at this point.
That's
No,
very true.
a director every episode is just ludicrous in this situation.
Yeah.
I would say the same with Legend of Korra arcs as well.
Yeah. Yeah, did this have different directors?
I don't know. I was just giving an example. But if
That's
there
a
were
good
different
example, though.
directors
Yeah.
for every episode in an arc, it's like,
Yeah.
what is happening?
Right.
And you could totally tell.
Yeah.
There would be massive inconsistency.
Yep. So that was my major problem
Mhm.
with the directing. And that's not to say that the directing was bad. It was just they got one episode, and that's it. Or in some of the cases, they got an episode here and then an episode way later.
Yeah.
Like, they couldn't tie things together. So it felt like they just got an episode and they were like, and this is what came before you. Go ahead and watch that.
Yeah.
Or I wouldn't even say, like, if they were shooting this consistently, all in a row, there's probably no way they even saw what the previous director was doing. Which means that they're relying on the writer and the producer to tell them what to do.
Right.
That's not going to work,
Yeah.
I don't think, in an 8-episode series.
Mm-mm.
Because you have the shot list, and then that's it. Like, what do you do?
Yeah.
Did you direct an episode?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know if it didn't work.
No.
And we'll come back to this later, but that may be a larger problem with having this be like there is a showrunner for this, and I don't know if he was prepared for it, and that's the writer.
Mm-hmm.
But
because you were talking about earlier about how the previous director was pushed out.
Yeah, I don't know how much of that is rumor and how much of that is true, but he's definitely not working with him anymore.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, including myself, think that's a lot of the reason the first season is so good.
Mm-hmm.
The direction is amazing.
Yeah.
And the direction of those two characters, the two actors, you can see it come out on screen.
Right.
And that brings the writing to life in
Yeah.
a way that like really makes it work.
Mm-hmm.
But then you're having Nick Pizzolatto, who's the writer, deal with these different directors, and I just don't know if he quite... it's not a one-man show.
No.
I mean, he has to focus on the story.
But that's still, even if you come back down to the story, we go again to the central plot and the characters, the quantity of characters being way different.
Yeah.
And along the direction is fantastic as well. Like I definitely agree with you on that. But I think also what made the first season great is because of just like the flow of the narrative and the balance of different plot points. It's like with the two people and the case, that you really got a strong balance of the development of their relationship and the family, along with like finding out the case and like the twisted darkness of it all, you know?
Right. Yeah. No, it's definitely true, and that doesn't come out.
And what is the case in this one? You know, it's so backseat. It's not even funny.
No, seriously, it's like, Casper's murder. And then that has unraveled an even bigger conspiracy. I guess I'll go into this right now. That was my other problem with the series.
Mm-hmm.
Is it's like the writer decided, okay, first season was great. Let's just do that, but bigger. Everything's bigger. Everything's grander. Everything's on a better scale.
Yeah.
That doesn't make it better.
No.
because everything on a grander scale with more characters and more twists and more plot points means it got really convoluted. And by the end, I just don't care. Right? Which is sort of what happened.
Yeah.
And that's really unfortunate.
I say it with anime as well. Like, complicated doesn't make it better.
Yeah.
So some things just they're too much for me, and I lose the empathy to it all. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm.
And what is it? They brought back the creepy factor in the beginning with the crow head.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about why I was immediately comparing this to the first season.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was one of the reasons.
Yeah.
In the second episode, he goes in and finds this creepy place with all these like sex toys and everything, and it looks like it's basically devil worship.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, what's this?" And I immediately go, "Oh, they're tying back to the first season."
Happening. Yeah.
Ooh, like weird shit, satanic stuff going on. All right, I'm in. No, they're not doing that. They're just moving on. Okay. And then it literally doesn't come back until the very end. And it's a throwaway moment.
Does it really?
It really doesn't.
No,
he just basically says he was into some messed up shit.
There was the crow head
right
in the
window
in the garage.
Yeah,
he wants to shoot someone. Huge.
That's it.
Huge problem with this series is there is no strong villain.
Yeah,
it is 20 kind of villains.
That's a good point. It's a very good point.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. There that in the first season, I'm sorry to keep comparing, but still.
No, but that's what we're talking about.
Yeah,
the comparisons are there.
It's just a good villain in general. It was someone behind the scenes. You saw the messed up stuff that was going on, and it continued. It lingered. It was all over.
Yep.
But there was one guy. There was one guy
at a time
helped you. Yes, that helped you grow to fear more and more as the episodes go on.
And then, and we see that too in different time periods, which puts a lot more it makes it a lot more intense because you see that they capture him. He's the meth dealer, but he's a part of something, and then he shoots him, and they don't figure out what. And then later they come back and they get the real guy. They don't get the real guy. The real guy is the senator, and the conspiracy is just getting a little bigger each time. Mm-hmm. To the point where then it's like, oh wow, that's a pretty big conspiracy. But there's always one guy that they're going for.
Right.
And that's why, in the first 2 episodes, I immediately went, okay, so we have a murder case. It's a really cool murder case. There's some messed up shit going on. Casper's a sex addict, and whoa, what's going on with that? Yeah. And then we see the demonic stuff. And then you see the guy in the mask who shoots him with the non-lethal shotgun.
Biggest bullcrap moment in the whole series.
So first 2 episodes, this is what I'm saying, right? First 2 episodes, I'm like, all right, we're back. True Detective's back. We're in. We've got the case. They're starting a little more development. I like what he's doing with his son. Ray and his son.
Yeah.
Frank and his wife.
Mm-hmm.
Really cool development going on.
Yeah.
End of season 2, bad guy. Beginning of season 3, no.
Episode 3.
Or episode 3? That's what I meant. Sorry. Beginning of episode 3? No. You recognize almost immediately that they will not be going back to actually find Casper's killer.
Mm-hmm.
You recognize almost immediately, it's like, okay, this is a huge conspiracy. Like, I knew it was coming. I was like, he's first of all, he gets shot with a non-lethal shotgun. That doesn't exist. You got shot 2 feet away from your chest with a shotgun. I don't care what's in the shotgun. You're dead.
Yeah. Absolutely.
There is so much force to come out of a shotgun. If it was fucking air and it was that close to you, like, you're dead. It does not matter.
And what's the intention of the person, He shot him far away once and he was
And then
down.
He got close.
And then he got close and shot him again. Oh, I gotta make sure he's really unconscious.
Yeah, like, what? How about you just fucking leave?
'Cause you're doing that.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
But no, he ends up being totally fine. Oh, and he's got a little bit of sling. Are you serious right now?
Yeah.
And that's when I could recognize almost immediately. He was like, I don't know who was in there, but we got to figure it out. And then I don't think it's that episode, but I think it might be the next one where she goes something along the lines of "We have bigger fish to fry," and I was like, "I'm out. I already know."
And then
It's not gonna be one bad guy. It's gonna be a huge ass conspiracy theory.
Yeah, and then I can't even remember what happened after that. It was like 20 different trails for the next like 3 episodes. Or
Basically,
something like
I mean,
that.
they go, and then in episode 4, they have a big shootout with a guy in a Mexican gang.
Oh yeah, that thing where like it's an entire police force, but only the 3 main people survive. Exactly.
Yep.
It's like, come on,
Yeah.
guys.
The 3 main people, perfectly, by the way, survive.
Yeah.
Like, they're not smarter, they're just lucky.
Mm-hmm.
And they're totally fine.
Yeah.
But everybody else is dead.
Right. And then the big, what is it? The big death of Paul Woodrow near
At the end.
like episode 7 or something.
Yeah.
So like to me, I was like, okay, out of the 4 main people, yeah, I expected him to die.
Me too. Yeah,
'Cause
I expected him to die.
He was the least developed, in my opinion.
They don't really go anywhere. They do this
Yeah.
really cool thing. You know, he's struggling with homosexuality, and he's dealing with that. And then he has a kid, and he's like, perfect. That can save me
Yeah.
from being gay. And then he doesn't do anything, and then they get in trouble, and then it's conspiracy time for 2 episodes, and then he dies.
Yeah.
Oh, what was his point? What was the point? What was the point?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, he just died.
Yeah.
Great. K?
He just, what is it? Him and, what was the girl's name? Annie. Like, I think both of them barely moved out of their tropes at all.
Basically.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's dealing with the gay thing and also not knowing how to function out of the army.
Right.
Dealio, which he literally says, and then
He does. Like he literally says the trope many times.
And then Annie is she's a strong woman, but they have to point out that she has to overcome men and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. Not only that, then she had to have been molested by somebody when she was younger.
Mm-hmm.
That just has to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Oh, I got kidnapped when I was younger. I was molested. Are you really? Can we have a female character that is not about that?
Yeah.
Good lord.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and then like in the middle, there's that part when one of her higher ups said, I don't know, why don't you like tease the guy sexually or something like that? And then other part is like, oh, you're suspending me because I'm a woman or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, does this have to happen? Not to say anything on woman issues or anything. I just get bored with this stuff in film media art. I get just as bored with race issues. That's just how I feel.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
it's just that it's a huge trope. It's nothing new at this point.
Yeah.
And they're not saying anything new about it like they were in the first season, in my opinion. Because in the first season, there's the whole thing with Woody Harrelson's character and his wife and their family. That is some good stuff about gender politics.
Mm-hmm.
That's some really interesting points that everybody's making. You know, she's just as bad as he is, but she has some really good points about him. And does he ever really change? And there's some genius stuff going on there.
Mm-hmm.
In this one, I'm like, oh, okay. Another strong female character who has to learn how to knife people in the throat.
You want to make a real strong female character? Just have her kick ass and don't say anything about it.
Well, that and, like, just make a good female character.
Yeah.
What, like, I don't understand.
Yeah. It's not that hard.
Well, it's hard to make a good character.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but you're already making good male characters. I think Frank's a pretty good character. Minus his lines. I think Ray's an okay character.
I like Ray. I really do.
So, I mean, just, like, why?
Yeah.
And I really felt like she didn't really go anywhere significant either.
No. Because they ran out of time with the whole thing and had too much going on.
Yeah.
You know? That whole 4 main character issue stuck from episode 1 onward.
Yep.
You know?
It really did.
They basically introduced the characters and then developed them in that order.
Yeah,
you know?
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it just didn't work.
No.
It just did not work.
Mm-mm. And then I know you mentioned before about how none of the men surviving and all the women surviving.
So, yeah, that just seemed kind of weird to me that, and this could just be me, this just kind of bothered me.
Uh-huh.
But, they go through the fact that Annie's a really strong female character, and then at the end, it's Ray that goes and does all of the stuff to get everything prepared, and then is the one driving back.
Mm-hmm.
It very easily could have been her.
Yeah.
Why is it not her?
Yeah.
And like that's the weird part to me is that it's like, look, we have this really strong female character. Okay, now she's gonna wait at home for her man to come. I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah.
Like, how will you put her out there? Like, if she's actually a strong female character, she would probably be the one like, no, you sit your ass home. I'm gonna go get shit done.
Yeah.
Except she doesn't.
I could have sworn she was gonna run off at the last second and help him out of the situation.
Yeah, and honestly, I would have liked that more.
Yeah,
I would have liked that a lot more.
I also was really expecting what is it? I don't know. Someone had to make it, but I was thinking either that happening or what is it? Annie does stay, and then Frank's wife actually gets caught by someone and killed. Because in the world they're living in, yeah, it showed the whole time they couldn't trust anybody.
Right, and that would have been interesting. Like, Frank turns out he can't trust nails or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought that was fine.
It's kind of cool to see one good, trustworthy person after 100 betrayals.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Is I'm okay with it because I'm like, okay, at least that one was a little like, okay.
Yeah.
All right, somebody's actually loyal and like.
Yeah.
All right, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was, and I liked her. I liked Frank's wife a lot. I thought the two of them together that was an interesting dynamic.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, that's fine.
Yeah. And I love how what is it? She stuck with him no matter what. She wasn't a gold digger.
Right. No,
even though they were in that situation in the beginning.
Yeah.
No, she loved him for him.
Right.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, and so did he. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I that was just kind of a weird thing that I noticed, that at the end it's they're just kind of like, the men had to go die so the women could survive. I was like, okay, well, I mean, that's weird because it's like kind of the opposite of what you were talking about. And here's the other thing. This is my other kind of main problem with the series, and once again, I'm comparing to the first season.
Mm-hmm.
But the symbolism got lost in all of this plot confusion.
Yeah.
So by the end, the only thing I can really think is, and we were talking about this earlier, Ray can't see the forest for the trees. Frank is stuck in a desert. He can see everything, but he can't get to the finish line.
Mm-hmm.
And Annie has water, which apparently means she's drowning on dry land. Because we were talking, she has a conversation with her sister where her sister's painting something.
Yeah. She
goes, it's about you because you remind me that you're drowning on dry land.
Which, I mean, I guess could be a couple things, because she was like, what is it? She was one of the few uncompromised people.
Right.
Like, dealing with all the compromised people.
Yep.
Or you could put it as she's drowning in a sea of trying to overcome all the men around her or something.
I mean,
I hope
there's
it's
a lot.
Not that. I really hope it's not that. But
yeah,
let's just say the first.
Yeah, let's say the first.
Yeah.
So, like, the symbolism, though, was another thing that reminded me, like, we were talking about comparisons. The first two episodes, kind of come in, and they introduce the new characters, and they introduce a main bad guy, right? And I'm like, great, so it is kind of like the first season. Yeah, it's different. I can already tell it's different.
Yeah.
It's completely different. But it's good. I like it. But then it's like the symbolism. The lady in the bar with the guitar singing constantly, and they're staring at each other. All of that, I know it's not meant to draw comparisons to the first season, but I immediately go, are you trying to be True Detective Season 1?
Yeah.
Like, are you trying to just be True Detective?
No.
Is this trying to be your style? Because it's not.
no, most of it. I always go back to the crow head and just the satanic part of it. That was a cheap hook for season 1 fans.
Honestly, that's what it felt like.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of scenes and themes, especially when we're dealing with symbolism, and we're talking about, Frank's talking about his childhood, and then you have, that, Rust used to talk about his childhood a lot, and you get, him going on big rants, Frank goes on big rants. I mean, it's all, in my opinion, meant as not comparisons, but it's meant to draw on season 1.
Yeah.
And none of it works because it's different.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there the whole time like, well, okay, I understand that symbolism was supposed to be really cool, but I don't care because you spent the last hour telling me about some conspiracy theory.
Uh-huh.
Why? Oh, there's a sex party. Why is she having a flashback? What's going on? Okay, whatever. I'm just gonna let this go. I thought the flashback would have been great, except it's wrapped up in this conspiracy theory of sex parties? You know what I mean? That was my problem. Is I felt like I was supposed to be like, oh, there's some of season 1. That's cool. And then it's like, oh, this isn't season 1. And then you have everybody who made the show trying to tell you, oh, it's not season 1. Season 2 is completely different. Well, it is, but it's the same writer. It's the same structure of what he's trying to do.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's supposed to be True Detective. That's why they're named the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, I have to kind of compare them.
Yeah.
And at the end, I ended up looking at the season as a whole, separately from season 1 anyway, and going, it wasn't that great.
Yeah.
I can point to some parts that were cool, other than that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Average.
It was.
I guess briefly, one thing I also want to mention is, I feel like these, cable channels like HBO and a few others, original series, are put on a pedestal just because they're HBO, little bit of a higher budget. They got that, oh, this is a serious series, grit to them,
right,
kind of thing. And I don't know, I feel like that gets them a little bit of praised when not analyzed deep enough.
So I think you might be right. I think there's a certain element to season 2. A lot of people said it was really good, but they use words like brutal and gripping, and they seem kind of empty when you compare them to the actual show. Yeah, some of the parts of the show are brutal. They're not as close to the deeply affecting moments in a lot of other television series. That really make you go, oh, that's disturbing.
Yeah.
I never got that. It's not really brutal. He shoots a guy in the lower stomach. I was like, okay, Vince Vaughn. Right? Like, wow, that's messed up. That's the one thing I can think of.
The sex party disturbed me.
Well, okay. True. Also, honestly, I thought it was a little comical sometimes, though.
Oh, really?
I was like, wow,
you mentioned the music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just like, what is happening? I don't know, the choices here didn't make any sense to me. The whole sex party thing didn't...
I was watching it in the dark by myself. It was low volume. It disturbed me. Which I think is why I think I enjoyed the rape reveal at that point, because I was already kind of in shock, and that just stacked upon it more.
Yeah.
For me personally.
Yeah.
But I didn't like that scene. I don't like an excessive amount of that stuff. You know that about me, but
well, okay, well then maybe it is a little bit more gripping than, or maybe it was more gripping to other people. It's just, to me, I really felt like I was like, people are just saying that because it's an HBO show. Yeah. And they can have sex and violence, and cable can't. That's why people are saying that. Yeah. Oh, it's really brutal, it's really gripping, it's really, disturbing sometimes, and... Yeah. I'm like, Well, yeah, but not as much as Game of Thrones. Like, not even as much as season 1, really.
Mm-hmm.
Not even as much as Breaking Bad. Like, it's just kind of an HBO show sometimes.
Yeah,
A
absolutely.
guy gets shot and has to die slowly.
We've seen it.
We've seen
We've
it.
seen it.
We've seen it many times.
Yeah.
Bunch of people having sex. It's an HBO show.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, okay, great. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know. So I'm just kind of like, yeah. Like, when I read reviews like that, I'm like, yeah, it's an HBO show.
And?
And? Is there something else that you want to say?
Right.
Oh, no, just that it was cool to watch. Alright.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. Like, what do you... I don't know.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, well, I guess if we're on the topic about just gripping stuff in general, I really did like Colin Farrell's character, Ray. I thought the relationship with his son was the best part because, just me personally, I haven't seen that type of story in a series or movie before, and I don't know. I feel like his just getting lost in his rage and just like pitch black sadness all the time felt pretty real to me. Just what he's dealing with, you know.
No, I think that I like both Ray and Frank.
Yeah.
I think that they both could have used some better lines sometimes, but the acting is actually really good.
Yeah.
In my opinion, and there's
Frank's
a lot
demeanor is really interesting because he's definitely a tough mob guy who will do what he needs to do to get done. But there's this like hint of benevolence in him. Towards Colin Farrell and stuff like that, which is really interesting. Like legitimate concern every time he sees him.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
No, I totally agree.
Yeah.
And I really thought I thought personally I liked those two characters the best.
Yeah. It should have been just them. I'm sorry.
I think it should have been.
Yeah.
I really think it would have been better.
It would have been a cool new dynamic too, because they're on two different sides.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
it still is, but too much stuff, you know.
There's too much else going on. I think if it was the two of them, I would have been like, all right.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
But that wasn't really the case. You know, there was a lot of other stuff going on, and the story of the son got lost. We don't see him for a number of episodes. Mm-hmm. Right? The story between Frank and his wife gets kind of muddled halfway through, and I'm just kind of like, okay, so we have a scene an episode now, you know, talking about it.
Pretty much, it's like,
we've put it on the back
we gotta do dirty stuff. Oh, I'm mad.
Right. Yeah, no, seriously.
It kind of comes to a standstill, you know?
Yeah, because there's like, there's 4 scenes in one episode, and they're each... This made me really angry because I felt like I was like, you only have 8 episodes.
Right.
There's so many scenes in that one episode, I can't remember which one it is, I'm sorry, but where Frank just goes and gets like his club back, or goes and gets the casino back, or goes and handles a problem somewhere.
Yeah.
Or just going to talking to people and vaguely talking about how he's gonna up their protection money.
Uh-huh.
You know? And or like vaguely talk about how he's going to screw them over and then he leaves. There's like 6 scenes in one episode about that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? We could be talking about anything else. You need like 2 scenes at most to get that point across.
Right.
That's what I felt like for some of the show.
Yeah.
Where I'm just like, what? Why? Why are you doing this? Why are you focusing on this? I want to hear more about his life.
Right.
Go back to them smoking pot in bed. That was awesome. That was a great scene.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing. There was so little relationship building.
Yeah. There really was. Because there's too many characters to do relationships between all of them.
The quote-unquote case overtook it.
Yeah.
But the case wasn't engaging. It was just complicated.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And by the end, I could care less what happens to anyone. Yeah. You know, or anyone else. I did still care about what happens to the 4 main characters in there. You know, kind of surrounding people. Sort of.
That moment when you find out he's the father.
That was really good.
That hit me. Yeah.
Right? And, like, Frank's death scene, we haven't even talked about the Mexican gang. Let's just not even get into that. Basically, Frank dies because of the Mexican gang.
Yeah.
For no apparent reason.
Yeah.
Well, he has diamonds in his suit, and the guy wants his suit.
And
why did he have to ask him
He
for the
screwed
suit?
over the Mexican gang with the clubs.
He did.
They knew he burned it down.
Right, but, like, why? Like, really? That's your device to kill Frank? I don't know. I was like...
Yeah.
I didn't understand that. But his scene of dying was great.
Yeah.
Him walking through the desert...
Just
and reliving those moments.
Yeah.
That was actually kind of cool. You know,
Absolutely.
him getting accosted by the gang in the 80s when he was a kid. His father just screaming at him. And then he meets his wife, and his wife says, "Oh, you passed out 40 feet that way." And that's where he dies. That's pretty well done.
Yeah.
You know? It's just the circumstances of that happening are super convoluted. Like, I don't know who the Mexican gang is.
Yeah.
Oh, the Mexican gang got screwed over.
It's
okay.
It's kind of like, what is it, when you're trying to make a story? I don't know. This happens for me sometimes. It's like, oh, I just have this fantastic scene in my head. How am I gonna implement it, kind of thing?
Yeah,
it's
that
like,
might be true.
It's like the episode, or maybe like a lot of the season started with that scene. Like one of that being the big scene. It's like, how do we loop it around to get it connected, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know that for a fact, but that's what it feels like to me.
You know, you might be right.
Yeah.
Because it really does feel like that sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I don't know. As a whole, obviously we weren't big fans.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think if someone can kind of rein Nick Pizzolatto in a little bit and say, "Hey, look what we did with season 1. Look what made it really great.
Yeah.
Let's focus on that again. Let's focus on the partnership, right? 2 characters. Let's really flesh that out."
Yeah.
I think if he can do that himself, if he takes the criticism, or if someone else, like, what I'm thinking is that the director of the first season kind of did that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Is he was like, "Whoa, rein it in.
Yeah.
We got 2 amazing actors. Let's work with that."
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Maybe they need that in season 3. So I'll still watch season 3. But if season 3 is the same, this is another show where I can just, alright, that's fine. Let it go.
Yeah.
I'm ready to do that with Game of Thrones. You know? So,
yeah.
I mean, it's unfortunate, but that's it. What are you going to do? I will give it another season, though. I will watch the next season. You know, if it's absolutely terrible. I mean, at least this wasn't so terrible that I was like, "Oh, I'm not watching the next episode."
There are moments that I'll still take with me, like, onward, that are embedded in my head, you know?
Yeah,
like,
there's some really good scenes.
Yeah.
Things that make you think afterwards. So, it's just unfortunate that everything else just didn't come together.
Yeah. What was your favorite scene?
My favorite scene?
Mm-hmm.
My favorite scene was probably Frank talking about
being
his
stuck
childhood.
in the basement. Yeah,
stuck in the basement. That's
fantastic.
Probably my favorite.
I'll have to go with Ray just losing it after that one monitored moment with his son.
Yeah.
And like after he holds his head, he's like, "I love you." He's just like, okay. You could feel the indifference, and he feels it, and you can basically what was inside him in that scene like transitions to the next scene.
Yeah.
I don't know. That part felt really genuine to me.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. This show had some very good actors, and they did a very good job with what they had.
Yeah.
I personally didn't like Taylor Kitsch. He's my only exception.
Yeah.
Everybody else did a great job.
Mm-hmm.
It's eh.
Yeah.
You know?
At the end of it, when you put everything together. Yeah. But hopefully they'll still get some good actors, and I don't know,
try again.
Slow down a bit.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Keep it a little more simple.
Yeah.
And then I think you could do this again.
Right.
I really do think that.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
we saw parts of it in this season. So.
And get a consistent director.
Yeah, no, really, keep one director. I really think that's a good idea. Like, honestly, keep one director. Really work, like, writer, director need to work together.
Yeah.
And, like, really make this show shine again.
Yeah.
And I think you can do it. I have faith.
Yeah, me too.
So, alright, well, if you guys want to tell us what you thought of the series, and if we were wrong or what we missed. Oh, and tell us about symbolism. If you know symbolism, tell us, because I missed a lot of that.
Yeah, yeah. I'd like to hear if there's anything we missed too.
Yeah.
About the deep stuff.
Yes.
The connective stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah, let us know. You can find us at Facebook.com/TheFanVoicePodcast.
YouTube.com/TheFanVoicePodcast.
Twitter @FanVoicePodcast.
Google.com/+TheFanVoicePodcast.
Almost went there. Almost skipped it. Our email, fan@thefanvoice.com.
And our website, thefanvoice.com, where you can find news, reviews, articles, and all that awesome stuff.
All right.
Yeah, so here's to another HBO season. And
Yep.
We'll see you next time.
Yeah. To the next thing.
Yeah.
I hope it'll be better.
Yeah. Me too.
Please, Game of Thrones. All right. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.